You know, in the late 70s, or no, late 60s, I went to Germany. I worked in Wiesbaden and all through France before de Gaulle kicked us out, entertaining the troops. And I was with Mamie Van Doren's show, and I used to be with the Johnny Ray show as an MC, and that's the Master of Ceremonies. And I used to work the bases a lot, the NCO clubs, officers, and EM clubs. Boy, those are the rough ones. Anyway, and when wonderful, wonderful movie of The MASH came out, it was one of the greatest Army pictures I have ever seen. And today I am talking to Igor.
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 Some would say Igor, but
Igor, but Igor.
Igor was the real
chef. You have been on MASH for 9 years.
9 years.
9 long years.
Long years. As a matter of fact, the first 2 years that the show was in production, I was not on the show.
Right.
And those are the only 2 years that the ratings were not that good.
The show, really?
So,
12 years the show's been on, or 11 years?
11.
11.
Yes.
American has a love affair with that show. They really do, don't they? They love that military sense of humor in between those two guys, or all those military guys.
They really seem to. When I talk to people, you know, out in the streets, and people come up to me and say, hey, we really love MASH. We love all the characters. We loved Igor, and we loved the, you know, tell me about Alan Alda. Tell me what Hawkeye was really like. Mm-hmm. There's a real affection in the face when they say that.
Right.
There's a real, like you say, there's a love affair.
1972, it started. Mm-hmm. That's when I returned from Vietnam, here in Hollywood. I returned in 72, and that's when it all started. But when did Jeff, now let's get back, Jeff Maxwell, Alhambra Jeff Maxwell.
Alhambra Jeff, the old Alhambra Jeff Maxwell.
No, but growing up in Alhambra, that's in California.
Alhambra, California.
And you became, you were singing, dancing at school, in high school, or what?
I was, I did just about anything I could to perform in high school. So any of the school plays or talent shows or whatever, I always auditioned for it because that's what I knew how to do and what I wanted to do.
Right.
I was not a good football player, so.
But you got a team. You met someone who you really liked, and his name's Garrett, and became Maxwell, Garrett and Maxwell.
Well, I didn't like him at first. What happened was we always auditioned for the same parts. We were always trying to do each other in terms of getting the
like
role.
Like a Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin type of thing.
Yeah, and we were auditioning for the same parts all the time. And one day we decided to just sit around and talk and let the rivalry calm down a little bit, and decided that we were funny, and we were funny together. At least each other thought we were funny.
I want to go back. Elks Club. Eagles Club, Moose Club. I started that too.
Did you?
Yeah, I did in Illinois.
Wasn't that great?
I mean,
the Elks
Chicago,
Club?
Illinois.
Oh, that was
big when
stuff.
These kids today, they say, when you're show business, I started in Elks Clubs. $50 they used to pay you on weekends.
You got $50?
I got $50.
Woo. Bill and I split $25.
25? Well, maybe 35.
Well, you must have been a star.
No, I was no. But anyway, we had a girl singer along with it, and you know who the singer was? Joni James in Chicago.
Oh, wow.
Tell me about Kenny Loggins.
Kenny Loggins.
Oh, God. He was from Alhambra.
Kenny Loggins grew up in Alhambra, where we did, and Kenny and the comedy team of Garrett Maxwell, which was what Bill and I were, we crossed paths because he was always performing in local shows in Alhambra for all the people that lived in Alhambra. And one day we got together, and he had a big gig at the it wasn't a Pasadena Ice House. Well, it was one of the do you remember the Pasadena Ice House?
Of course,
okay, which is still there.
It's still there, very successful.
They opened up a Glendale Ice House.
Right, they did.
And Kenny Loggins and his band got booked into the Glendale Ice House.
Right.
And he came to Bill and I, and he said, hey, I need some comedy stuff. You know, we're just a band. We want to do some jokes.
Right.
So he said, we'll give you guys $100, $50 to write the act, and $50 when we do it. So we thought, great, this is great. We're making $100, no problem.
Right.
So we write the act, and we give him the act. He really liked it. He gave us the $50. They went and performed for 2 weeks. That comedy act never gave us the other $50. Kenny, $50.
He owes you $50. USO, tell me about it. You both went on the USO tour, or you went to entertain the troops.
Yep.
Tell me about that.
Great
Far
experience.
East or Europe? You went
Far
to Far
East.
East.
Yeah.
Okay.
We went to Japan, Korea, Guam. We were in Okinawa, the Philippines.
Yes.
We even did some stuff in Hawaii and Alaska, actually. We kept coming on the way back.
Right.
Great experience. We performed for the troops at that time in 1969. Wait, 69.
69.
69, a couple of years ago. I was probably 11.
Did you enjoy it?
I loved it.
The EM clubs are rough, though. Those are rough
Enlisted
clubs.
men's
Enlistment clubs.
Enlisted
They're
men.
rough. Am I right?
Yeah.
You have to get a little
Raucous.
Raucous, yeah.
Yeah, they're raucous.
But you returned back, and then you became a casting director or something like that.
You did read the book.
Yeah, but tell me about you as a casting director, from entertaining the troops and entertaining.
Well, I did a lot of things. I had a lot of jobs.
Okay.
You know, I was able to get a lot of jobs at 20th Century Fox.
You're working at 20th.
I was working at 20th. I started out printing the scripts that the movie stars that I idolized were saying and were reading off of. And then we went to, then I performed. During the time I was working at Fox, I was performing in nightclubs too.
Around.
And then we did the USO thing, and then I came back, and then I worked for a while as a casting director. And that
then
was
you worked as an extra. Did you do extra work?
Yes, I did.
That's where it really, something happened to your whole life.
Whole life at that moment.
I mean, people say it don't do extra work, but it switched your whole life around.
Well, it did. It gave
Tell me about that.
Okay. What happened was the casting director friend of mine said, you know, you've been traveling around doing nightclubs. Why don't you kind of settle down and see what acting is like? Maybe you'd like acting.
Right.
And I thought, nah, I don't want to do it. Actors were kind of pompous to me, and I didn't really want to perform with actors. I like being in nightclubs and live audiences and having a great time and staying up till 4 in the morning and stuff. You remember that.
Of course.
But I did it. He said, well, I'll cast you on this new show. There's a show that's actually kind of failing in the ratings, and they're probably going to cancel it, so we'll just put you right on it.
Right.
And it's called MASH. I said, okay. And
you mean that was failing at the time?
Well, they weren't doing that well. It wasn't a real hot show at that point.
Right.
So I agreed to do it, and he said, well, okay, you go out at 4 o'clock the next morning to the Malibu Ranch, where they shoot the exteriors of MASH.
Right.
And you show up there at 4 o'clock, and they'll tell you what to do. So I did. And I showed up at 4 o'clock in the morning, which I hated doing, because I was just about to go to bed. Yeah, I was about ready to go to bed at 4 o'clock in the morning. So I get there, this guy comes running over to me, he says, hey, cut your hair.
Cut your hair.
And I said, no, I don't cut my hair, buddy. And he said, well, go on and put all those green uniforms on. Oh, okay. So I did that, and there were like 150 people running around screaming, yelling at each other, and it was freezing cold, and I hated it. And I vowed never to return. I spent the day, went through the day, got very, very hot. As an extra, walking back and forth. People were yelling at me, go there, stand here, shut up.
But something happened with the hat.
Well, in order to prevent my hair from being cut, I stuffed the hair up under the hat. Remember that. If you ever want to have your hair, you don't just pull the hat way down over your ears. That's what I did.
That's what you did.
And it actually later on helped me develop the character of Igor.
That's
right. It gave me kind of an identity, pulling it way down and sticking the brim.
You didn't even know that was going to happen.
Didn't know it.
See, that's the whole secret about the identity, to change the whole thing around.
You know, life is about, you got to go with it. If it happens, if it comes up for you, just go.
So what happened? You got the call the next day.
When I got home, there was a message telling me that they wanted me to come back the next day because I was in a scene that had to be matched. So they needed this guy to walk through the scene.
Yes.
And I didn't want to, because I didn't want to go back. I said, nah, I don't like this. But I did go back, and I stayed there for 9 years.
Enjoyed it?
I loved it.
You've had a good time since in all these 9 years?
I loved every single second of it. Yes.
The part, the cook part, how did that all became?
Well,
Igor. I mean, how did that become? Yeah, Igor.
I say in the book, in Secrets of the MASH Mess, the story.
Yes, you just wrote this book. We're going to talk about that.
Oh, yeah.
We'll talk about that.
Okay, I wrote that book.
Go ahead.
But Igor was born out of kind of fooling around on the set. Because I was a clown. I was a kind of a wound-up comedian coming off of nightclubs.
Right.
And there I was suddenly on a set with very distinguished actors who were very quiet.
Well, we'll go over here and say this.
I was kind of a wacko. So I was having a lot of fun and telling jokes and telling stories and acting goofy. And was nicknamed Igor on the set. And later, Larry Gelbart, one of the brilliant writers, the genius behind really MASH, the television version, and the other writers wrote one day I had a part on the show, and they wrote the character Igor, and he was behind the steam table, and that's the way it was born. So
but the movie was first.
Yes.
The first film was with Duvall.
Robert Duvall. Elliot Gould. Donald Sutherland.
Sally Kellerman. Sally Kellerman.
Yeah, she was Hot Lips.
She was. How come they didn't get her back for the television show?
You'd have to ask Sally.
Very strange.
I don't know. I don't know. She would have made a very good Hot Lips. She certainly was great in the movie, but I loved Loretta.
Great movie.
Yeah. Oh, killer movie. Ooh, wonderful movie.
So the movie, the TV show became very, very successful after you got on.
The ratings shot right up.
Really?
Hey.
It got a lot of awards.
Go figure.
Alan Alda, wonderful guy, wonderful actor. Really, what kind of a guy is he, really? Come on, between us. Yeah, go ahead. What kind of guy, really?
He's tall.
Yeah.
He's very tall.
I hear he's a sweetheart of a guy.
I wish I could say, Skippy, that there was something bad. Because I could probably sell a lot of books and be in a lot of tabloids and do all that kind of stuff. I can't. Alan is a very, very talented. Is that good, Alan? Mm-hmm. Very, very talented man. Brilliant actor. He's doing really great parts now because he's taking on a lot of different kinds of parts, villains and bad guys, which is really fun for me to see. I learned a lot from him. I really, truly enjoyed it.
What did you learn from him?
I think I learned about energy. He was Hawkeye for 11 years, 5 days a week. 6 months out of the year, he would show up on the set at about 6:30 or 7 o'clock in the morning. He'd go home at 7 or 8 o'clock at night. He'd have to go home and learn lines, come back the very next day, have all those lines ready to go, and be the character of Hawkeye. And Hawkeye certainly emerged as the captain of the ship, and he had tremendous energy through all of that, all those years. He never let down and said, just walk through this. He was never cross on the set. He was always very pleasant to everybody, great humor.
Was the set always that way
Well, a couple of days here and there. Everybody have a bad day.
How about Loretta? She's the only woman on the show. Was it tough for her to be the only girl on that show?
I can only assume it was. I watched her deal with as you say, an all-male-oriented cast. And certainly the production crew was all male-oriented. They were all male directors and producers and writers.
She was the only girl.
Only girl. Yeah. And she held her own with great dignity and charm. I had a little crush on her. 44
awards that show got. 44 awards. Emmys, People's Choice, all kinds of awards.
Emmy Awards.
What do you think the secret is of MASH? That's such a successful, all over the globe.
I think there's a couple of secrets. I think the maestro of the show initially was Gene Reynolds. He was one of the executive producers of the show, in charge of bringing MASH to television. He has a tremendous sense about actors and who should play the right part, and being able to place people in the right positions. And his wonderful vision of the show, combined with the brilliance of Larry Gelbart as a writer, together brought the right people at the right time, in the right time of life, because we were involved in the Vietnam War.
Yes, we were at the time.
And so the nation was kind of hungering for some way to express the frustration.
This is where all the humor came in.
Right. Yeah.
Henry Morgan, what a great actor.
Great guy. I loved. I would stand behind the steam table, and he would be walking through. He played Colonel Potter, the second commander of the post, and he would come walking through, and I'd have to serve him stuff, and we'd have a little scene and dialogue, and I'd think to myself, gosh, he used to be looking at Spencer Tracy, and Gary Cooper. This man's been working since he was, probably 17 or 18 years old, and now he's looking at Jeff Maxwell, and I would get chills. I'm getting chills now.
You are?
I am. Maybe I'm sick.
He worked with Spencer Tracy.
Yes.
Great actors.
Yeah, great. Yeah, absolutely. He was in Inherit the Wind. He was the judge in Inherit the Wind, and he was in High Noon is one of my favorite films with Gary Cooper. And he was kind of the weird little guy that Gary Cooper went to enlist in helping him. Yeah, he worked with Frederick March in Inherit the Wind.
Mike Farrell, wonderful actor. They're all such good actors. I could just go down the line.
Yeah.
Mike Farrell, tell me about Mike Farrell.
I got a kick out of watching him grow from when he first started on the show. He was very clean shaven, you know, and his hair was very neat. And later on, the character progressed, and he had that big handlebar mustache, and he wouldn't shave, and he had a big goofy kind of hat on.
Right.
And he became much more comfortable with the character of B.J. Honeycutt, and much more aggressive with the character, which was fun to watch.
He was the only one in the movie, though, wasn't he?
No.
No, he wasn't?
No, the only one in the movie was Gary Berghoff.
Oh, that's right.
Right. Gary was the original Radar in the film.
That's right.
And also an interesting difference, because in the film, Gary played the character being a little more smarmy. He was kind of a a weaselly guy that was getting stuff for everybody.
Yeah.
And in the TV show, he was much gentler.
What's the word MASH mean? What does that mean?
MASH stands for Mobile Army Surgical Hospital.
Oh, okay.
Which is a hospital out in the middle of a war zone that can pick up and move if they have to.
I see.
If the fighting gets too close to them.
That's what it stands for.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Jamie Farr. Crazy guy.
Crazy,
funny, dynamic.
Crazy like
bizarre,
a
in drag.
In drag, yes. You know, he did a great job at doing a part that could have been very difficult and looked at, poorly, but he was able to give us all a great character in Klinger, and let us enjoy the wackiness and the kookiness, and feel his frustrations in trying to get out of the Army all the time. He did a great job.
Tell me about your book. Now let's get
my book.
The Secrets of MASH Mess. Tell me about this lost recipe of Private Igor. Tell me about it.
Well, I had that idea to do a book about Igor's point of view way back in about 1982, just before the show ended, because the show was officially over in 1983.
Right.
And it took me 14 years. Okay, I'm slow. What can I say? But it's a look at the MASH set and the MASH camp from Igor's perspective.
Right.
And I decided to write it like Igor was writing home to his mom. And in these letters that he talks about all of his experiences are wonderful, delicious recipes that prove that Igor was not the kitchen ghoul that we think he was. He was actually a naturally gifted chef. And we learn that in this book.
I am learning. Oh, look at this. The officer's club sandwich.
Delicious.
Have all kinds of things here. I love it. It's
one of my favorite. We did the book in 3 sections: breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, because that's Igor's mentality. That's where he lived: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then, of course, there's section 8, which has appetizers and a few alcoholic beverages and
hot
desserts.
lips, tips. What's this? Tell me about that.
Careful of that.
Yeah, tell me about hot lips.
Hot lips tri-tips.
Tri-tips, yeah.
Say that 6 times real fast.
Hot lips tri-tips.
Hot lips tri-tips, yes.
Go ahead.
Delicious, wonderful meat dish if you love, a red animal, beef, that's good.
Okay.
There's pastas, there's chickens. I'm very partial to the gas passer chili. Excellent meal. Eat it by yourself, but it's very good. And the gas mask mustard chicken is delicious.
When you're on the set, the food is there. It's real food.
Real food,
real
sure.
food, and you're serving this real food. The smell of it all is all fresh smell. It's all cookly done right there and ready for you to serve.
Right.
Did you ever get tired of doing this?
As long as they paid me, I would keep serving that food forever.
The book is an interesting book, Jeff. It really is.
Thank you.
I think it's just coming out right now.
Just coming out. I wanted to. There are other books that are written about MASH.
Look at this. Isn't that nice?
Is that nice?
Yeah, but the recipe though, they don't have this.
They don't have recipes. There's over 150 delicious recipes. Now I've had a good time with the names of the recipes, like gas passer chili.
I like this top brass pecan chicken.
Oh, delicious! Yummy.
Is it?
I'm getting hungry.
This is all your recipes, huh?
All my recipes.
Interesting.
Are
you a good cook, though, Chef?
I am.
You are.
I'll make you some.
Are you married? Are you married, Jeff?
Yes, I am.
You have children, and you cook for your family?
I don't have any kids. I have my wife and I have a big bird named George.
Oh, okay.
There's a picture of George in the very back of the book.
Oh, okay.
George helped me put the book together. He's a parrot, and he's a very cute parrot.
Does he talk to you?
Yes, he does. He says, "My name is George. I'm a bad birdie." That's all he says. But
Has it been hard for you, Jeff Maxwell? I mean, the show was such a success. What's new and exciting in your life besides the book now? What have you been doing?
Well, I really enjoy the writing process, and I really enjoy the producing process. I produced a couple of pilots. We had one at CBS, and that was a talk show pilot that starred Jackie Stallone and Georgia Holt, who was... Georgia Holt is Cher's mother.
Right.
And Jackie Stallone is Sylvester's mother. And CBS didn't buy it, but we produced the pilot, and it was pretty cute. Together, they're really adorable. And
she has a lot to say, Jacqueline. She doesn't hold back, does she?
She won't stop.
Yeah, she won't hold back.
You have to gag her right up to me.
True, sly as...
She's perfect for a talk show.
What has been the hardest for Jeff Maxwell?
I think the hardest?
Yes, what have been the hardest for you?
I missed MASH a lot.
You do miss it?
Yeah, I do. I miss it.
You miss the whole... Do you still see the members of the cast, friends of yours? Are you still close with them? You make phone calls and say, hey, you know.
You know what's really fun about this book is that doing the book reunited me with everybody.
It did.
I had not seen anybody in probably 10 some odd years.
Really?
Yeah. Everybody goes their different way.
Yeah,
goes their own way.
And you're living in the valley, in the one Beverly Hills.
Yeah, one's in New York and all over the place.
Yeah.
Gary Berghoff and I, who played Radar, are getting together. He's doing it. We're working together on a children's show for him.
Oh, I like that.
It's great. Oh, it's a terrific show.
I think children, we need good children's shows.
We do.
We really do. Yeah,
we do.
Very, very. If you weren't an actor or a writer or a comedian, what would Jeff Maxwell be doing?
I think I'd work in a ski resort.
Really?
I love to ski.
Do you really?
I love to ski. I'd be
California?
making hamburgers in a ski resort and just skiing down that mountain. I love it. I do. Jackson Hole, Wyoming is my favorite.
Oh, that's a great place.
Beautiful place.
You know
Hello, Jackson Hole.
Jackson
I
Hole.
love
Just what's her name has a place just there right now. Our Skin Girl cream. Oh God, what is her name?
Skin Girl. Skin
yeah,
Girl.
Skin Girl.
Skin Girl. Well,
Skin Girl. She's.
We'll go up there and see her.
She's there. What does Jeff Maxwell really want besides skiing? Really looking. What do you really want to do now at this time in your life?
I want to keep doing. I want to be able to just keep doing what I think of doing. I love exploring different ideas. I love the process of writing the book. It was very difficult.
Was it difficult for you?
Yes, it was. Putting together a book has a lot of complications. You have to deal with the legalities of the contractual obligations that the studio has with all the actors.
Right.
There are merchandising issues that a major studio like 20th Century Fox has. Thank you, Rupert Murdoch, for allowing me to do this.
Right.
There are a lot of things that, just mechanically you have to get over to do it. So, but I love the end result. I think it's a wonderful, result, and I love the process, even though it was hard.
You would do it the same way right now if you...
I think so.
You would do
I
it?
wouldn't change it.
You wouldn't change?
No.
So you're having a good time right now?
I'm having a great time right now. I love doing the book. I've loved being able to express my affection for the 9 years that I spent on the show.
You were a comedian at the beginning of your career. You were a team. Why don't you would you like to do a one-man show and do your act as your life on stage? Wouldn't it be kind of interesting? You coming out in your guitar, like you did when you first went to Vietnam or to the Far East, and with your guitar, and just from stage to stage, talk about Gary Maxwell, what happened to him, like your book. Take it from there. right on stage.
Not a bad idea.
A one-man show.
Maybe I'll think about that.
Those one-man shows are very, very big right
They're
now.
big, yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't have to pay anybody.
Do you work the Comedy Store at all? Do you ever go and do comedy at the Comedy Store?
You know, when I was doing Garrett and Maxwell, the comedy team we did,
Yeah.
we worked at the Comedy Store. I haven't been there for years because, you know, you get involved with acting and you get paid a lot of money for a few hours work as opposed to being on the road for days and days and days and years and years and years and get paid a little bit of money, but you have a great time. But it's kind of, you get spoiled, you know, you don't want to go back on the road and run around.
What's your philosophy in life?
I think my philosophy in life is to, as best I can, enjoy the moment and be in the moment. I'm loving being here with you and talking to you
So
about
you live
my
for
life.
you live for the moment, at the moment, right now. This is very important.
Yeah, I think so.
So you really don't think about what happened years ago, what happened.
Late at night, when I can't sleep, I think of a few things.
Give me 3 words to describe Jeff Maxwell. Just give me 3 words to describe you.
Fun,
That's good.
silly, and serious.
Who is your idol?
Jerry Lewis.
Was Jerry Lewis your idol?
Hello, hey, lady. You know,
I don't know. The Island Boy reminds me of you. His Island, what's his name? Bob Denver.
Bob Denver? Oh,
yeah,
well,
you
I have
get
the
that.
goatee,
You get that a lot, I'll bet.
No, Brad Pitt. Actually.
Brad Pitt?
Yeah, everybody
Do you
comes
really?
up to me, Brad, and I have to say, no, it's Jeff Maxwell.
Oh, did they see the calendar picture or
They must
something?
have.
He's very upset about that one.
Yeah. Well,
What people can't tease about Jeff Maxwell?
What people can't what?
Can't tease about you.
You can tease me about anything.
Really?
Oh, go right for it. I'm a happy guy. You can go after me. I don't care.
So you're happy about everything in life then? Huh?
Well, no, I'm not happy about everything, but I'm trying to enjoy whatever I can. And as I say, I'm enjoying being here. I've loved doing the book. I love
This
looking
book is
forward
wonderful.
to-
The
Thank you.
recipes are great.
They really are delicious. The names are funny, but but we spend a lot of time to make sure that they're delicious. And
I love this rosy red chili pork.
yeah, Rosie's red chili pork.
That's really
Oh,
great.
if you like pork
Yeah.
and can eat it, it's delicious and it's real spicy and pungent.
Now, you entertained in Korea. Actually, you entertained. So, actually, when you were a chef working on the show, you actually entertained the troops.
Yes.
So, how did you feel about? Because that was your experience. Because I did the same thing.
Yes.
Entertained.
Now, you said you were going to tell me.
Yeah, well, I did that. I entertained. I met you.
Oh.
I did see you in Okinawa with your team. When you were in a team, you and your
Right,
partner.
Garrett and Maxwell.
Yes,
right.
right.
And we were in
you were
Okinawa.
playing guitar. He was playing guitar.
He was playing.
And
Right.
you were doing your act, and I did see it.
how fun
And
that
Mitzi
is.
Call and Charlie Brill.
Yes.
Mitzi Call and Charlie Brill were in Okinawa at the time. And you were in one show and we were in another show. And I
I'll
remember
be
you
darned.
very well after I realized where I'd seen you.
Oh, how fun. Well, I'm sorry I
This
didn't
is
see
in
your
Okinawa.
show.
No,
Wasn't
this-
that fun, though, doing
Yes,
those?
was
Wasn't
wonderful.
that great?
Yes.
Did you enjoy that as much as I did? You know, all the
it
audiences.
must have been great for you because you got this wonderful part in this TV show, MASH, and God, give me a break.
Well, yeah.
You know.
It was a good experience.
It was a
great
good
experience. Very coincidentally, I was in Korea before the show was actually on. I didn't know it. I went back to Korea after I was on the show. But the first trip to Korea to perform for the troops, the show was not on. So.